Hi, I'm Jordan. We're doing a Kickstarter preview for the new Talon Strike Studios game that's coming to Kickstarter, Camp Pinetop by Stephen Davies, who does the artwork and the design for this game. So let's look inside. In Camp Pinetop, players are starting here as a Possum Scout, working their way up the ranks to achieve Badger Scout status. First person to become a Badger Scout wins the game. In order to do that, players must achieve certain sets of badges in order to make it to the highest rank. I should mention that none of the artwork and components are final in this copy, but it'll give you a good idea of what the game could look like when it's coming in. So let's do a quick lay of the land here. So in the center of the board, depending on the number of players, we have a grid of cards. Each of these has a location printed on them, such as Orion's Traverse or Stormy Peak. Each of them has 4 potential badges that you can earn by going to that space. There is a cost here to earn a badge there, and then there is a type of card also on here. There are 3 different types of cards, along with the different suits that are on the cards as well. So you'll see each of them are going to have the 4 badges, the name, and the cost to move on there. Over here we have the draw pile. There are 2 cards placed on each side of the draw pile for drawing cards into your hand. We also have these objective cards that players are going to be able to play upon throughout the game. 4 of these are going to be pulled for each game. The rest will be sent back to the box. Each player receives a player board that is identical, showing what your hand limit would be, the rank of you currently, your marker showing which rank you're on, and then these show what you need in order to achieve. The bar showing an or, so you either need 2 green, 2 blue, or 2 black in order to move up here. Also, each player receives a stack of badges, black badges that are diamonds, blue badges that are squares, and round badges that are green. Each of those, everybody has the same set of those. The power, once you achieve the badge, is written on there, and you can use that ability after you receive that badge. So how do you play Camp Pinetop? On a turn, you can do one of a couple actions. So you may draw cards into your hand. You may draw 2 cards from the top of the deck, or cards from either side of the deck, or a combination of both. You may not draw cards from both sides on the same turn. So you may not draw this blue one and this red one on the same turn. But you could draw the green and the blue together, or you could draw one from the top and a blue card. You draw 2 cards into your hand. That is one action that you could do on your turn. Something else you can do on your turn is move. You can move one of your tokens of your color into another space for free and draw a card. That would be at the end of your turn if you were to do that. Something else you can do, and something that you are actively trying to do in this game, of course, is to collect new badges. So if you move to a new space and you want to collect a badge, you would look at the cost on the card. So if I want to move from here to here, it would cost me a green card and a yellow card in order to play. And so I would move here. I would discard a yellow and green card to the discard pile. And then I would see which badge did I cross over whenever I was moving there. And in this case, I would look and see that it is a green circle badge with a backpack on it. I would then go through my badges. I look at my green badges here and take the backpacker badge, and I'd place that in front of me. And then this gives me an immediate power. Sometimes they're ongoing powers. For green, they are immediate, and I would be able to take 2 cards off the top of the deck and add them to my hand at this time. So this card stays in front of me. If I were ever to take a badge that I already have, instead of taking a new badge, I would flip it over. It shows the arrow, and then I would be able to take the new upgraded action that the badge gives you. So that's one thing you can do. Again, in review, you can draw 2 cards from here. You can move 1 space and draw a card, or you can move 1 space and take a badge as long as you pay the cost associated on there. Something else you can do is add another one of your workers to the board. If you want to add a worker to the board, you'd have to look at the corner symbol down here and compare it to the symbols on your cards. So cards not only have the symbols in the upper corner, but below them they have the symbol too. So if I wanted to put a person here on this space, I would need 2 gray cards in order to do that. So here I have a gray and a green, so I would not actually be able to place there, and I'd have to not place my person, and I'd have to find another action to do. If on your turn you have achieved one of these mastery cards, you look to see if you've achieved it. For instance, this one would have 4 scouts on the corners of the board, have 4 scouts on a single map card, have all 4 blue badges, have at least 3 scouts on the edge map cards. So at the end of your turn, if you have achieved any of these, you look at the badges that are printed on here. You would be able to take one of those badges or upgrade one of your badges that have that symbol, and you would take that action and put it on there, and that remains there for the rest of the game. Other players can achieve this mastery card as well, and they would put their token on the other badges that they achieve on their turn. 4 of these mastery cards are used per game, so there's a lot of variety game to game over what kind of objectives are happening. Also, on your turn, at the end of your turn, you want to see whether you have achieved any of the rank increases. So if at the end of my turn I have 2 green, I would move up from possum to skunk. If I were to achieve 2 blue and 2 black, I'd move up from skunk to woodchuck. You want to do that turn after turn after turn until you have achieved the badger ranking. It is very difficult to reach badger, but it is a race to try to reach the highest ranking in the game. First person to place your token here wins the game. Guys, that's it. That is all there is to Camp Pinetop. You take 1 action on your turn, the next person then goes, they take 1 action on their turn. There's very little downtime between rounds because the turns are so snappy. It almost feels like a Ticket to Ride, Splendor, that kind of game where you only really have one thing to decide on your turn. You make that decision and you move on. Now, some things that do make this game interesting, of course, are the mastery cards. Those are going to be rotating game to game, giving you those objectives. They can be very powerful at the beginning of the game, especially because they might be able to fill your hand with a lot of cards at the beginning, or they might be able to get you an upgraded scout badge early on that might be able to help you later in the game to move up. Now, each of the badges are also really interesting because they're going to give you a variety of different powers. The green ones are going to give you immediate powers. The blue ones are going to allow you to do something ongoing throughout the game. So for instance, the Trailblazing card lets you move 2 spaces instead of just 1. The Orienteering badge allows you to choose between the badge that you crossed or another one on the card that you land on. So you have the choice between which badges you want. And then also the black diamond badges are going to allow you to use certain cards as wilds throughout the game, so you're not locked into whatever the land tiles are making you pay. So as the game goes on, you know, things are going to be ramping up because you're going to be able to do things more efficiently depending on how your how your badges are. But as you can see, the art is not final in the game, but it is super charming, the direction that they're going. It looks really nice. It all kind of comes together in a really coherent package. It feels thematic, even though it is ultimately a kind of lightweight set collection Euro type game. But the theme really does work here. It doesn't feel like you're just trading in cards to get things. You know, going to the way that these are, we've got Penelope's Landing here, the wash tub shed. They all kind of have that old map camping kind of feel, and the artwork really helps. The components really kind of tie you into it. I'm really excited to, see what the final production is when the Kickstarter is funded. But that is Camp Pinetop by Stephen Davies and Talon Strike Games. This is something that you might be interested. Definitely check it out on Kickstarter. Again, I'm Jordan with Jordan Plays Blue. Check me out on Instagram at Jordan Plays Blue. Do all sorts of quick reviews over there, and just general fun when it comes to board gaming on Instagram. But that's all. Thanks. Have a good one.